We're here at Consensus Hong Kong 2026, where a lot of the stage conversations have been dominated by the topic that AI agents and bots are taking over the internet. So I'm here with Terence, founder of Humanity Protocol, to talk about how you're building the trust layer for our digital lives using privacy-preserving technology, biometrics specifically. But we get into it.
Are part of it. It's partly by metrics and a bunch of other stuff also. So we can get into it.
I want to get into this because you got a lot going on here. But I guess to start us off, I've heard you say that the internet was created to connect servers, not verify people. So in 2026, why is physical proof of humanity now the most critical piece of infrastructure that we need?
I think whether it's in the blockchain world or in the traditional tech world, with the event of ChatGPT and now, deepfake videos, AI generated images, voice generation, in the online world, it's becoming pretty difficult to verify, you know, what is a human being and what is not. And if you extrapolate from that, it's also becoming very difficult to verify any sort of information, right? You could create an email address, sign up for a LinkedIn account, sign up for a Twitter account, and it seems like you're essentially a person, right? Plug it into ChatGPT and it can do its own texting. We think AI agents and AI technologies, it's getting more and more powerful, and they're great things about it. We use it every day. But one of the key concerns is, our ability to start differentiating what is real and what is not, or essentially.
So I was reading that scams and bot-driven fraud are costing the global economy more than $1 trillion annually. So you're trying to fight that. I guess my question would be, can Humanity Protocol be the defense layer that could actually finally make these scams economically impossible? And if so, how do you do that?
So we think it's super important. I think somebody has to do it. Whether we can actually do it and be the dominant player solving that problem, we don't know. We're confident and hopeful that we can. The way we look at this is ultimately how do we have trusted parties, trusted entities verify things and encrypt it, use zero knowledge technology to ensure that different consumers, different users, different enterprises can make use of this information, right? So starting with sort of biometrics, we have COM-based, COM-print, COM-vein technology to verify that a person is really a person. But then moving beyond that, we've also done partnerships with likes of, MasterCard, financial institutions, for people to go verify their credit score, their bank account balances, or now moving to universities, companies to verify how much money they, to verify where they actually went to school. Or, if you claim to work for CoinDesk, do you actually work for CoinDesk, right? All of these things we think are just becoming more and more important. I think a couple years ago, the cost of sort of lying or fabricating information is pretty high. It's not that trivial to do. And as a result, most people sort of take everything at face value. I think now with all your, with Claude, with ChatGPT, with image generation, Nano Banana, all that sort of stuff, it's becoming super easy to create fake information.
Yeah.
And so we actually think over the next years, decades, this is going to be super important.
Tell me more about the palm screening technology, because WorldCoin, as we all know, went for irises.
Yeah.
You're going for palms. So is that less invasive? I've heard it could possibly be more scalable. Like, what are the advantages?
So the reason why we went for palm is because it's actually a pretty proven technology. So in Japan, they've been using it for ATMs for like the last decade and a half, 2 decades. China, the US, you have Tencent, you have Amazon sort of using Palm for payments. So the technology is pretty mature, and ultimately we do think it's a little bit less invasive. I mean, biometrics is biometrics, but ultimately this is something, it's not tied to your face, and from our perspective, it actually opens up a bunch of different use cases, right? So for example, we acquired a company last year called Moongate, which is one of the biggest ticketing providers. So a lot of events like, ETH Denver, Token 2049 is actually powered by Moongate. And so one of the things that we're actually also going to be rolling out is ability for people to use their Palm once it's registered for access control, for ticketing, for events, which is, we think, a little bit more secure than sort of this, wristband or a lanyard where you could just hand to other people. So, we actually think the Palm it's just less invasive and easier for people to be comfortable with, and just much more scalable.
Yeah, it's such an interesting use case. You mentioned some of the things around payments or even access to healthcare services getting verified by the government, but I had never thought about it in terms of like an event and even VIP experiences and things like that. Yeah. Okay, so I also read that your team recently ran an experiment which was catfishing people
Yeah.
with AI
Yeah.
on Tinder. I have to hear more about this. What was the scariest takeaway?
It was pretty interesting because my marketing team was like, hey, you know what, we should try this out. I'm like, sure. And out of the Europe office, they decided to run an experiment where set up a bunch of emails, set up a bunch of Tinder accounts.
Was that
Yeah, I mean, it's super easy, right? Like, and then created a bunch of deepfake images of people that don't exist, plugged an API into ChatGPT, and had essentially a bot swipe and chat up a bunch of people.
Oh my God.
Ended up, I think we invited 20 guys and 20, girls for men and women for essentially a date, or what they thought would be a real date, all at the same place, for them to essentially meet their date, but then realize that they were essentially chatting to just an AI agent. And yeah, people were pretty shocked. We had a video. I think there's millions of views now on Twitter. Everybody was pretty shocked to realize that for the last couple of weeks they've been flirting with, something that doesn't exist. The event was great because everybody stayed. Everybody thought it was very fun, funny. A lot of people built real human connections. A lot of them made friends. My understanding is that some of them actually ended up seeing each other afterwards from this event.
That's a happy ending, yeah. um, I'm sure also a lot of them walked away from that kind of realizing the need for a decentralized internet and these proof of humanity solutions as well, so they don't find themselves at that party again.
Absolutely. And I mean, recently, even you look at like X or Twitter, Nikita, the guy who heads up product, was coming out and saying, you know what, we don't want as much, all this AI sloth on Twitter anymore. Like, we want real people rather than just ChatGPT copy and pasted content. So I think it's only going to be more and more important for people to be able to differentiate.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This is such an important topic here at Consensus Hong Kong. I think the need for a decentralized future and solutions such as yours is absolutely top of mind for everyone. So thank you for sharing a little bit more about your work.
Thank you very much.